Hello everyone, Retro Media here, and today I'm going to be reacting to 7 video games that predicted September 11. Creepy by ZacCoxTV. Now, pretty much I am going to tell you, I guess, a little bit about this event after this reaction, but yeah, we got a long video, 12 minutes, 8 seconds, so without any further ado, let's just begin, shall we? And here we go.
Between 1989 and April 2001, there were 7 video games that predicted what would happen in September 2001. Which leads me to ask, have you ever heard of the term predictive programming? If not, well, basically what predictive programming is things happening and hidden in the media, whether it be TV shows, radio, music, video games, before they actually happen. And a lot of times it's atrocities, whether it be the death of a celebrity, the death of a very high-ranking official, or a tragic, catastrophic world event. This has happened time and time again. It happens all the time in The Simpsons, but today, since I have a video game-related channel, we're going to focus on 7 video games that seem to have predicted what would happen in September 2001. Now, I actually did a video very similar to this in 2017, except we only covered 3 video games. Now we have 7 different video games, and it's all very, very interesting. Also, I am making this video on September 11th, 2019, as today marks 18 years since all this stuff happened. And well, I'm a history nut, but also being that I have a video game related channel, I would like to relay to my younger audience out there that this horrible atrocity and event not only affected the United States, but the world as a whole, and also things as minimal as video games that were even affected by this. So if y'all do enjoy the video or learn something new, please consider giving it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and let me know down below in the comments, how old were you, and where were you on September 11th, 2001?
I'll say it at the end of the video.
Number 7, Master of Weapon. Released in 1989, the whole premise of this game is basically after an entire week of a nuclear war on Earth that destroys the global environment, the survivors of the war gather their strength and resources in an attempt to bring the Earth back to the way it was using a supercomputer called the God System. And the survivors start their first step in rebuilding Earth by having the God System create machines capable of cleaning and reconstructing much of what had been lost during the war. However, without warning, a mysterious mutant entity known as N takes over the God System, creates different guardian statues based on Greek mythological figures, manipulates the system, and it attacks mankind. Now, that's the rundown of this game. But what's very, very odd about it is its foreshadowing of September 11th, 2001. So, remember, this game released in 1989, and where it actually foreshadows or maybe predicts what happens in September 2001 is in the game, you can actually shoot at tall, rectangular office buildings that are sometimes grouped in pairs, much like the Twin Towers. And, well, once you actually shoot these towers, they will collapse or pancake straight down into a cloud of debris after several hits, exactly like what would happen in 2001.
I can see why.
That's not it. It doesn't stop there.
What?
What's very, very weird
Oh, guys, it's in 2001.
This game, text displayed on the screen specifies that this game takes place September 11th, 1990X. Number 6, King of the Monsters 2. Released in 1992, the whole plot of this game basically takes place 3 years after the events of the first game, where only 3 monsters have survived what is known in history books as the King of Monsters Massacre. They've become more advanced and dangerous than ever before. But now, in 1999, a powerful alien monster and his wave of minions threaten to conquer the Earth. The surviving monsters must defeat the alien menace and once again prove who is the king of the monsters. Now, where this game gets very interesting and possibly foreshadows September 2001, is during one of the first boss fights, the Twin Towers actually make an appearance in this game. Cool,
hey.
right? Well,
Jeez.
they're then taken out and pancaked in
Jeez.
the exact same fashion that would happen 9 years later.
Oof.
Number 5, Urban Strike. This 1994 classic is actually set in 2001, which is,
Okay.
well, that's pretty creepy. So, just a
Yeah.
quick summary of the plot of this game. It's centered around the antagonist, H.R. Malone, a millionaire media mogul, ex-presidential candidate, and fanatic cult leader who promotes a moralistic agenda that will expunge corruption from America and promises that his personal security force will tackle crime. Well, what gets very interesting about this game is somewhere and sometime inside of this game, the World Trade Centers, they make an appearance.
Really?
They're attacked, and a giant hole appears in the middle of one of the towers
Oh,
with a helicopter
I think I
trying
saw
to
it.
rescue people.
Yes.
Now, I'll just go off script here and state the obvious that, yes, the Twin Towers were the rooftop of the New York City skyline for quite some time,
Mhm.
which makes them a target and makes them stand out, which is, I understand why this stuff could happen in video games.
Mhm.
But what is just oddly coincidental is that this game and another one take place in 2001
Yeah.
and feature these terrible atrocities happening to these buildings
Mhm.
in almost the exact same manner as to what would happen in the year 2001 in real life.
Yeah. Oof.
Number 4, Aero Fighters 2, also released
Uh-oh.
in 1994. This shoot-'em-up arcade game allows you to pilot a jet, and you have the objective of
Oh,
destroying
no.
buildings, enemies,
Yeesh.
armored enemy planes, and on level 4 in this game, you can actually shoot a hole in one of the World Trade Centers,
Yeah.
almost recreating what would happen 7 years later.
Mm.
Number 3, Deuce X. This is one of the more interesting ones, in my opinion. This game released in the year 2000, and in one of this game's levels, we can actually explore Liberty Island. And while here, we can see that the Statue of Liberty has been destroyed,
Yeesh.
as the head is actually on the ground and has been knocked off.
Oof.
Now, we can also take a look around the New York City skyline, and one very interesting thing that we can note is that both of the Twin Towers are absent from this skyline. And remember, this game came out in the year 2000, and it is stated in-game that the Statue of Liberty was destroyed in 1997. Now, what's kind of cool about this and kind of suspicious is that, well, we have 2 explanations as to why the Twin Towers are absent from this game's skyline. Number 1, the Twin Towers were destroyed by terrorists, which makes sense as the Statue of Liberty is destroyed. And this is from in-game dialogue saying that the Twin Towers were destroyed. The second explanation actually comes from this game's developer. And believe it or not, the developer of this game said, and I quote, "The Twin Towers were removed due to memory constraints."
Yeah,
But
I was
what's
thinking,
odd
not
about
enough
this,
space.
where I think we catch this game developer in a lie, is that this was actually tested out. World Trade Center textures were added to this game, and it ran just fine. There was nothing going on. And I'm not sure, this is my uneducated, just me spewing out the mouth, but this wasn't a real city in the distance. It was textures. It was 2D objects.
Yeah.
So I can't see how much more memory that would take up from a game with 2 other textures added in. But like I said, that's my unofficial horrible opinion. I'm not a game developer.
That's
and also,
creepy.
This was in the
That
year
Statue of
2000,
Liberty is
where
creepy.
we had like 8 megabyte memory cards for the PlayStation, and that was pushing it at the time. Number 2, Command & Conquer Red Alert 2. This game was also released in the year 2000, and well, this game doesn't predict anything in the game, but on the actual box art for the game, that's where things get a bit interesting. So on the back of the box art, we see a plane flying right towards one of the Twin Towers. We see soldiers parachuting out of the back of this plane, but we've just got this plane headed
Is the Statue
to
of
a
Liberty
very,
backwards?
very controversial building. And remember, this is in the year
2000
when this came out. Well, it was later replaced with a similar image of things moved
Okay, that one's better.
and just from a different perspective, so it didn't look like the plane was flying directly towards this building. Also, the front of this game's cover was also changed. We see a man, and in the reflection of his monocle, I guess you could call it, or his eye patch, there's an American flag. Well, that was in the original cover of this game, and in the re-released cover for this game, the flag was taken out and replaced with a mushroom cloud. And number one, quite possibly the most interesting of them all, is a game called Trade Center Defender that released in April 2001. And this was a flash arcade game where players shoot down planes heading towards the towers.
Wow.
And if a plane hit the towers, it would pancake. Now, no traces of this game actually exist in 2019, or none that I could find, at least. I tried to find this in 2017. I couldn't. And now in 2019, I still can't. Well, the week of September 11th, 2001, this game was actually removed from the internet and pulled from arcades. And here's a screenshot and the only image that we actually have of Trade Center Defender in existence, like I said, that I could find on the web. It was a bit cartoony. Well, by the end of September 2001, this game was actually remade by a French website entitled New York Defender, where it had the same premise, except it was more realistic.
I see the title.
I'm a guy, I'm all about dark humor. I've got horrible taste in humor.
Me too.
I don't get offended by anything really, and I'm not offended by this. But I can say straight up that this game, Trade Center or New York Defender, was created in bad taste. Meaning that the original was removed the week of September 11th, 2001, and by the end of September 2001, this game was recreated, more realistic, and released. Like, that's some bad taste type stuff right there. You can actually play this game in 2019. It does exist. But that said, those are actually 7 games that have predicted what would end up happening in September 2001. It's very spooky, very interesting, and it makes you wonder how. Was somebody getting their Nostradamus on? Did these game developers know something that the public didn't? Who knows? Or maybe it was all just purely coincidental. But nonetheless, I hope that you all did enjoy this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. And with that said, I'm ZacCox. Thank y'all for tuning in. Love you all, and I hope to see ya in the next video.
Okay. Wow. This, it definitely sent chills down my spine. But, oh boy. And upon seeing this, I'm actually looking at the comment section. Apparently, he says, this video was demonetized by YouTube because of discussing, of course, September 11. And that means I spent 5 hours working for free to create this video. In return, just please ask if you can leave a thumbs up. Thank you. Oh, wow. 5 hours? It took you to make this video 5 hours? Like, I can barely make a video in under 2 hours. In under 2 minutes. That is... It takes me 4 hours to make one of those. But, wow. That's very impressive. You definitely had some... You definitely took your sweet time trying to make this video, actually. Good job. But, yeah, he also asked, where was I in September 11, 2001? Well, I remember it was just a normal day in school. Me and my sister, we were in our classes, and I remember there was my sister telling me that there was an announcement around the time that the first tower got hit, and they were announcing to turn on the television. However, my teacher who didn't we didn't hear that announcement when I was in kindergarten because she was on the phone, and every single time that there was an announcement going on, she was always on the phone for some reason. But yeah, like I said, I was 5 years old, a few weeks away from turning 6. My sister was in 4th grade, and I remember there were several announcements throughout that day until we were told to pretty much that we were going to be leaving school early. Some people actually celebrated, but I was kind of confused because there was no holiday. There was no. We usually get out due to bad weather, but no. There was. It was like sunny. It was a sunny day, and I remember, or when we were leaving, there were just kids crowded all over in the hallways, and I remember meeting my sister, waiting for her mom, and my mom was actually one of the first people to arrive to take us. When we arrived home, the door was open, the TV was on, and I remember seeing the image of one of the towers like in flames, and I could not understand what was going on. At first, I thought it was just like an old video footage, but my mom was telling me, no, this is actually live TV. This is happening right now. And another side story is that one of my mom's friend actually went to New York that summer, and she had told me that in December, if my parents allowed it, she would take me to New York. And I wanted to, that was like, has been one of my biggest dreams, to go visit New York. See the Statue of Liberty, and you try some of the food there, take a cab. It was like one of the dreams, but my biggest one was which was thanks to Home Alone 2, was going to the World Trade Center and go all the way to the very top to see if there was actually that observatory that you can just look out all of New York. That would have been like a dream come true. But then, of course, we had the September 11 attacks, and that dream just, not to pun intended, like the dream crumbled just the time that the buildings ended up crumbling. It was a very sad moment in 2001, and I'm very sorry for all the family who lost someone, all the firefighters, all the policemen, all the people that died in the plane, in the building at the Pentagon in Pennsylvania. It was definitely a tragic moment, and we will never forget it. Like, I'm pretty sure that people who thought that the United States was invincible, well, that day pretty much changed everything. Now it's just filled with so much paranoia. You can't go walk around alone in New York without having someone looking at you suspiciously. Yeah, we're all stuck full of paranoia. Things will happen, and yes, we've had attacks happen inside here, not from other countries, but within people themselves. Like, there's the Boston massacres. There was, I don't know, there was even attacks back then, back in the 20th century. But some of those were just been overlooked and forgotten. But this event, I don't know. It's always going to remain there, and definitely we were united. But of course, afterwards we weren't. But like I said, man, it was definitely a tragic moment. And like I said, sorry to all the families who lost someone that day. And now that it's been 20 years, it's gonna be even more impactful. But like I said, back to this video, I actually wanted to watch it back in 2020, last year, but I didn't have time, and I had to wait an entire year to watch it. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed it as much as I did. I was definitely creeped out, because these things happen. People predicting things, these things happen. You've seen The Simpsons. They predict almost literally like 80% of the things that have already been happening ever since, and they've predicted it years prior. So these are just definitely coincidence. These are not planned out. You would not believe how much cartoons have actually had the scene where they attack the World Trade Center or the Pentagon. I don't know. Maybe I might check that out in the near future, but I don't know if it's up now, because it is a sensitive topic. So, without any further ado, I'm just going to end the video right here. So, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can tune in next time and see what comes next. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.